Today, we are counting down 12 Harley-Davidson motorcycles that dealers are desperately trying to dump before Christmas. Stick around because number 1 is so overpriced and so desperate that you won't believe what dealers are doing just to get rid of it. Number 8, Harley-Davidson V-Rod. The V-Rod was Harley's most radical departure ever, a liquid-cooled, high-performance muscle cruiser designed in collaboration with Porsche. With 120 horsepower from its Revolution engine and 0 to 60 acceleration in 3.5 seconds, it was the fastest production Harley ever built. The bike featured cutting-edge technology for its time, aluminum frame, sophisticated fuel injection, and performance that could compete with sport bikes. Harley positioned it as proof they could build world-class performance motorcycles when they wanted to. But the V-Rod had one fatal flaw. It didn't feel like a Harley. The liquid-cooled engine was smooth and powerful but lacked the character and sound that Harley riders expected. Traditional customers rejected it for being too different, while performance riders dismissed it for being too heavy and expensive. The bike also suffered from practical limitations. The tiny 3.7-gallon fuel tank meant constant gas stops. The aggressive riding position was uncomfortable for touring. The high maintenance costs scared away budget-conscious buyers. After 15 years of trying to make the V-Rod work, Harley finally discontinued it in 2017. But dealers are still stuck with leftover inventory, new old stock bikes that have been sitting for years waiting for buyers who never materialized. At its original $17,000 plus price point, the V-Rod made no sense. Buyers could get lighter, faster, more reliable performance bikes from Japanese manufacturers for less money. The V-Rod was impressive but impractical. Now dealers are offering remaining V-Rods for as low as $11,995, down from $17,000 plus MSRP. That's a massive discount on new motorcycles. But even at those prices, they're hard to sell because buyers know they're getting a discontinued model with limited parts and service support. Number 7, Harley-Davidson FXDR 114. The FXDR 114 was supposed to be Harley's modern muscle cruiser, a bike that combined drag strip styling with contemporary performance and futuristic design. With a Milwaukee 8 114 engine, producing 119 pound-feet of torque, aluminum swing arm, and radical bodywork, it seemed like Harley's bold vision of what a performance cruiser could be. The bike featured aggressive design elements that made it stand out in any parking lot. A massive 240mm rear tire, drag racing-inspired stance, lightweight composite bodywork, and LED lighting that screamed modern performance. Harley positioned it as their answer to riders who wanted something different, something that broke the traditional cruiser mode. On paper, the FXDR has serious performance credentials. The aluminum rear swing arm reduced weight, the low slung profile improved aerodynamics, and the powerful engine delivered strong acceleration. It looked like nothing else in Harley's lineup, which should have been a good thing. But there was one massive problem. It was all style and no substance. Despite its aggressive looks and drag-inspired design, the FXDR was uncomfortable, impractical, and overpriced for what it delivered. Then there was the handling issue. Despite its performance pretensions, that massive 240mm rear tire made the bike feel sluggish and unwieldy in corners. The FXDR looked fast, but didn't handle like a performance machine. It felt heavy and cumbersome compared to true performance cruisers. Competition killed it completely. For $21,999, buyers could get an Indian FTR 1200 that delivered genuine performance with better handling and more comfortable ergonomics. Or they could buy a Yamaha VMAX that offered more power and better straight-line performance for less money. Even within Harley's own lineup, the FXDR made no sense. The Lowrider S offered similar performance with better comfort for $4,000 less. The Street Bob delivered comparable acceleration with more practical ergonomics at a lower price point. Now dealers are desperately trying to move remaining FXDR 114 for $15,995, down from $21,999 MSRP. That's a $6,000 discount on the bike that's barely 3 years old, and they're still sitting on showroom floors because riders have figured out that radical styling doesn't make up for poor ergonomics and questionable value. Number 6, Harley-Davidson LiveWire. The LiveWire was supposed to be Harley's electric future, a high-tech, high-performance motorcycle that will bring the brand into the 21st century and attract environmentally conscious younger riders. With 105 horsepower, 86 pound-feet of instant torque, and 0 to 60 acceleration in 3 seconds, It had legitimate performance credentials. Harley loaded it with premium components, Showa suspension, Brembo brakes, cornering ABS, and a sophisticated traction control system. The build quality was exceptional, the technology was cutting edge, and the performance was genuinely impressive for an electric motorcycle. But there was one catastrophic problem: the $29,799 price tag. For nearly $30,000, buyers expected a premium motorcycle experience, but what they got was a bike with a 70-mile highway range and charging infrastructure that made long rides impossible. Even worse, traditional Harley riders rejected it completely. They wanted the sound, vibration, and mechanical character of a V-twin engine, not the silence and instant torque of electric power. The LiveWire felt like a different brand entirely, alienating Harley's core customer base. Electric bike enthusiasts weren't interested either. For $30,000, they could buy a Tesla Model 3 or put a significant down payment on other electric vehicles with much greater utility and range. Harley tried discounting the LiveWire to $22,000, then spun it off as a separate brand to distance it from the main Harley lineup. But the damage was done. Dealers were stuck with inventory nobody wanted. Now dealers are liquidating remaining LiveWires for as low as $15,995, down from $29,799 MSRP. That's a $14,000 discount, and they're still having trouble finding buyers for Harley's electric experiment. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Street Rod 750. Harley thought they could create a sport cruiser hybrid that would attract younger riders who wanted performance with Harley attitude. The Street Rod was their attempt to build something edgier and more aggressive than the standard Street 750, featuring a retuned Revolution X engine, sportier suspension, and aggressive styling cues. The bike produced 67 horsepower from its liquid-cooled 750cc engine, a significant improvement over the base Street 750. It also featured inverted front forks, dual front disc brakes, and sport bike-inspired 17-inch wheels with sticky tires. On paper, it seemed like Harley's answer to bikes like the Yamaha MT-07, but there was one huge problem. It was still a street model, and the street platform was fundamentally flawed. The riding position was awkward and uncomfortable, with high foot pegs and a cramped cockpit that felt more like punishment than performance. The engine, while more powerful than the base street, still felt sluggish compared to true sport bikes. The final nail was competition. The Yamaha MT-07 offered 20 more horsepower, better handling, superior reliability, and more comfortable ergonomics for $1,000 less. The Honda CB650R delivered sport bike performance with naked bike practicality at a similar price point. Dealers are now offering street rods for $5,995, down from $8,999 MSRP. That's a $3,000 discount, and they're still having trouble moving them because buyers have figured out there are simply better options available. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Pan America 1250. The Pan America was Harley's bold attempt to enter the adventure touring market, dominated by BMW, KTM, and Honda, with a new Revolution Max 1250 engine producing 150 horsepower and advanced features like adaptive ride height and multiple riding modes. It seemed like Harley was finally ready to compete with the best ADV bikes in the world. The bike had legitimate off-road capability, sophisticated electronics, and performance that matched or exceeded established competitors. Early reviews were positive, and it seemed like Harley had finally built a modern motorcycle that could compete on merit rather than heritage. But there were problems from the start. Early buyers reported electronic glitches, suspension issues, and reliability problems that damaged the bike's reputation. Adventure riders are especially sensitive to reliability because they often ride in remote areas where breakdowns can be dangerous. Then there was the brand perception issue. Adventure riders are loyal to brands with decades of off-road experience and proven durability. Harley was entering a market where they had zero credibility and asking customers to trust them with their safety in remote locations. The pricing didn't help either. At $18,999 for the base model, the Pan America was competing with a BMW R1250 GS, which had decades of proven reliability and a massive dealer network worldwide. Why take a chance on an unproven Harley when you could buy a BMW with guaranteed parts and service anywhere in the world? Competition from Honda's Africa Twin at $14,399 made the Pan America's pricing look even worse. Buyers could save $4,600 and get a bike with Honda's legendary reliability. Now dealers are offering Pan America Americas for $13,500, down from $18,999 MSRP. That's a $5,500 discount. And inventory is still piling up because adventure riders have better proven options available. Number 3, Harley-Davidson CVO Street Glide. We've seen overpriced Harleys on this list, but this is the ultimate example of Harley pushing pricing beyond all reason. The CVO Street Glide represents everything wrong with Harley's current strategy: premium pricing for marginal value, exclusive features that aren't actually exclusive, and a complete disconnect from market reality. This bike costs $50,149. Yes, over $50,000 for a motorcycle. For that price, you get a Milwaukee 8 121 engine with 125 horsepower, a 12.3-inch touchscreen, premium paint, and various luxury touches. Harley markets it as the ultimate touring machine, the pinnacle of American motorcycle engineering. But here's the brutal reality. You can buy a standard Street Glide Special for $28,999 and get 95% of the CVO experience for nearly half the price. The extra $21,000 buys you fancier paint, a slightly larger screen, and bragging rights that nobody cares about. Even worse, the $50,000 price puts the CVO in competition with luxury cars, boats, and other toys that offer more utility and status. For $50,000, buyers can get a BMW M3, a well-equipped truck, or make a substantial down payment on a vacation home. The depreciation is catastrophic too. A 1-year-old CVO Street Glide might be worth $38,000, representing a $12,000 loss in 12 months. That kind of financial hit scares away even wealthy buyers who don't want to throw money away. Competition makes the pricing look even more ridiculous. Honda's Goldwing Tour DCT offers superior comfort, better reliability, more features, and legendary durability for $26,100, less than half the CVO's price. Now, dealers are desperately trying to move CVO Street Glides before Christmas, offering them for $27,995. That's a $12,154 discount from MSRP. But even at $38,000, they're still sitting on showroom floors because buyers have realized that $38,000 for a motorcycle is insane when you can get better value elsewhere. Some dealers are so desperate, they're offering lease deals, trading guarantees, and payment plans that stretch to 8 years just to move these bikes. But even with creative financing, buyers aren't biting because the fundamental value proposition doesn't make sense. The CVO Street Glide represents everything wrong with Harley's current approach: premium pricing without premium value, exclusivity that nobody wants, and a complete misunderstanding of what customers actually need. Number 2, Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 114. The Fat Boy was once an icon, the bike from Terminator 2, a symbol of American motorcycle muscle and style. But the modern Fat Boy 114 became a victim of changing times and physics that Harley couldn't overcome. This bike weighs 695 pounds and produces 119 pound-feet of torque from its Milwaukee 8114 engine. When it was introduced, Harley positioned it as the ultimate cruiser: massive presence, distinctive solid disc wheels, and enough power to move its considerable bulk. At $21,999, it was expensive, but seemed to justify the price with premium features and iconic styling. But modern riders discovered that 695 pounds of motorcycle is simply too much for most people to handle confidently. Parking lot maneuvers became exercises in fear, low-speed handling was intimidating, and dropping the bike meant potential injury and expensive damage. Insurance companies noticed too. The Fat Boy 114's weight and power combination led to higher accident rates, which translated into insurance premiums that shocked new owners. Many buyers discovered their insurance costs were $2,000 plus annually for a bike they were afraid to ride in tight spaces. Competition from lighter, more manageable cruisers like the Indian Chief and Honda Goldwing made the Fat Boy's disadvantages obvious. Riders could get similar or better performance without the weight penalty and handling fears. Now dealers are offering Fat Boy 114s for $15,500, down from $21,999. MSRP. That's a $6,500 discount, and they're still struggling to find buyers willing to deal with a 700-pound motorcycle in today's market. Number 1, Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide. The CVO Road Glide was positioned as the ultimate touring motorcycle, the most luxurious, most powerful, most feature-packed bike Harley had ever built. With a Milwaukee A121 engine producing 125 horsepower and 139 pound-feet of torque, premium paint, and every luxury feature imaginable, it should have been irresistible to touring enthusiasts. The bike featured a massive 12.3-inch touchscreen, premium Rockford Fosgate audio system, heated and cooled seats, GPS navigation, and paint schemes that cost more than entire motorcycles. Harley positioned it as the Bentley of motorcycles, exclusive, luxurious, and worth every penny of its premium price. But there was one massive problem: the faulty $4,999 price tag. For $45,000, buyers expected perfection, but what they got was a motorcycle with the same basic platform as models, costing half as much. The CVO upgrades were mostly cosmetic and luxury features that didn't improve the fundamental riding experience. Smart buyers realized they could buy a standard Road Glide Special for $28,999 and add $10,000 worth of custom accessories and still save $6,000 compared to the CVO model. The value proposition simply didn't make sense. Even worse, CVO models depreciated faster than standard Harleys. A 1-year-old CVO Road Glide was worth maybe $35,000, meaning owners lost $10,000 in the first year of ownership. That kind of depreciation scared away buyers who expected luxury products to hold their value. Competition from Honda's Goldwing at $23,800 made the CVO pricing look even more ridiculous. Buyers could get superior comfort, better reliability, and more features for half the price. Now dealers are offering CVO Road Glides for $32,500, down from $44,999 MSRP. That's a $12,500 discount, and they're still sitting on showroom floors because $32,500 is still too much for what you get.